You'll have to apologise to me because I'm drinking not you'll have to apologise to me. I have to apologise to you, sorry. Let me get that right. Because I am drinking a coffee. So for this mini-sode, if you can hear me slurping, it's because I'm balls deep into a hot Moccona.
I mean, it's really my fault because we've just been recording another episode and I think I've sort of slightly made you nod off a little bit with my own talking.
With the dulcet tones.
Exactly.
No, not at all, not at all. But now, I just needed it desperately. What are we talking about today? Tell me about that.
Well, in that very episode we just recorded, you mentioned something about why everyone thinks Tasmanians are inbred, and it had something to do with this thing called black bobs.
Yeah, black bobs. Okay, so you don't know about this. You've never heard about this.
Well, first of all, I mean, I just have to quickly say I don't know anything about it. I assume that like black bobs is the name of the area, I think, in Tasmania. And, you know, you just assume in Australia that if it's got a name like that, then some horrible Indigenous atrocity happened there. So, but it's not to do with Tasmania. That. Yeah, it's not to do with this particular story, though.
No, it's not at all. No, this has nothing to do at all with First Nations people at all. But I think I would assume you're quite right. I would assume that the name Black Bob's rivulet, which is a little rivulet in Tasmania, I presume that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
Not that I can find it. Not that I could tell you for fact, but I would presume that.
Yeah. And the trouble is you sort of Google it and this thing that you were talking about just comes up as all the, top 2,000 results.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't click open anything because I wanted it to be a surprise. So tell me about this important bit of Tasmanian history that I should know.
So I'm surprised you don't know it because it was told to me by my mum and my dad and stuff when we'd go driving at night to visit my nana who lived in New Norfolk or wherever. When you'd be driving at night time, it'd be, be careful, you don't want the black bobs to get you.
Right.
Or whatever. And it was sort of this legend thing of be afraid of the black bobs sort of thing.
Bogeymen, okay.
A bit like that.
Yeah.
And basically, the urban legend is that they are or were a family of inbred people that lived in a town or lived on a property on the Black Bob's rivulet near Houy in Tasmania, which is...
Houy. It's the best name for a suburb, name. Isn't it? Houy. It's actually Ouse, but yes, it's pronounced ooze, as in the stuff that comes out of a pimple or a sewer.
Well, these people allegedly... Look, I can't tell you if it's true or not. I don't know if it's ever been documented as true or not. But the big thing is these people were inbred. The father... They had many children. The father would have sex with the daughters and they would have more children. And there was always this sort of story about a child who was chained up to a post box or a tree or a fence like a dog, like a chained dog. And this child was covered in hair head to toe and had really quite long arms and, walked around on kind of labored around on all fours, almost like, I guess, a gorilla or something.
Yeah.
And it was quite aggressive.
That's really why it's such an unfair stereotype for someone from Tasmania, because I think I only got chained up to the Hills Hoist.
I wasn't sure what you were going to say then. I was really, really worried. So basically the story allegedly goes, sometime... I don't know, early 1900s, 1915, 1920, I don't know. This family moved out to this place on the Black Bob's rivulet and started inbreeding. The father with the daughters and then later the brothers with the sisters. And it wasn't until I don't know, they were in their 20s, a little bit later, when the elderly parents died and they were buried on the property in a hole in a ditch, and the man went to Hobart Town, and said, my parents are dead, and the police were like, well, why didn't you report this? And he's like, I didn't know I needed to tell anybody. They died of natural causes, essentially. So I just dug a hole and buried them. I thought that was what I was meant to do. And at that point, he also said that my sister has taken on. My sister is now the wife and the mum of the house. Okay. And so the police allegedly went out there and, had a look, and that's when they found this this hairy child chained to a letterbox that
Right.
barked and growled like a dog and was quite aggressive. And they found out that a lot of the children were sleeping together in the same bed. So they said that they had
dear.
they said, look, you need to separate the boys and the girls from sleeping together. And so a little while later, another day, another time, they went back and apparently there was like barbed wire down the middle of the house separating the boys and from the girls,
Right.
which sounds insane.
A very literal separation.
A very literal separation.
Put a fence up.
Yeah. And the chained up boy, who they were told to unchain, attacked the police or the social worker who went back on this visit. Yeah, and so there was always this story about it. And then another story about it was that having been told that he had to report all the deaths of people, births, deaths, and marriages, he came back down to town another time and he took a sack into town hall where you report those things and left the sack.
And the sack was made of human skin.
No, the sack was left on the steps with the body of his dead wife in it.
Oh, jeez.
And he, in his mind, he'd walked all the way from wherever he was up in New Norfolk for probably, it would have been a good day, I suppose, of walking. And he dumped this body in a sack as his version of like reporting the death.
It's probably like a day and a half because you go past Mona, don't you, on the way? So you got to stop, have a wine, have a look at the exhibitions.
So that was what it was. And then basically the police were like, oh, hell no, this is not good. So they went back up there and they'd all vanished off into the bushes. They believed off into the bush. So there's this whole urban legend that these family of inbred people are at large, running loose in the Tasmanian Hobart bush. Whether it's true or not, nobody knows. But there's this whole thing about people have sightings of black bobs. Your car headlights will flash through the trees and you'll get glimpses of eyes, or you'll see people running on all fours across the across the road, and they sort of make cars swerve and stuff like that. And these kind of, I guess, inbred kind of people. Allegedly inbred people anyway. Yeah. And it's sort of become this kind of terrifying urban legend. And I think that's something that is kind of carried on without the reference of them being black bobs, but I think that's partly where this whole inbred thing comes from.
Right, yeah. Gosh, creepy. I mean, especially the bit where it carries the wife in the sack.
Yeah, see, the story that I heard was actually that he dragged the wife in the sack. He dragged the wife in the sack all the way down the highway because where they lived obviously was up off the highway somewhere miles away. Anyway, dragged her down the highway and then left her on the steps of town hall to report her death. Isn't that terrifying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know if it's true or not. Perhaps I don't know if it's corroboratable. Is that even a word? Probably not.
It's from 1912 or whatever. So, who knows really. But the one that sort of scared me as a child a bit was, I think it might even be a real one, and I should really pull up a little news article about it here so I don't get anything wrong. This is from the Sydney Morning Herald, October 1st, 2008. Vengeful wife who fed husband glass sandwiches avoids jail. What? Do you remember this?
No, this doesn't sound like an urban legend. This sounds real.
Well, it's verified by this news article, but I remember hearing about it at the time because I think it was pretty close to where I grew up, maybe. Anyway, I'll read you a few paragraphs from this Sydney Morning Herald news article. It doesn't have an author written on it, but you can Google it yourself if you're interested. Anyone at home? A vengeful wife who tried to harm her cheating husband by sprinkling crushed glass on his lunches has avoided imprisonment in Tasmania. A Hobart Centrelink manager, blah, 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 who is back living with her husband, was sentenced today, blah, 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 to a suspended 9-month jail term. But let's go down a bit. The court told she used a meat tenderizer to grind up glass from a fluorescent tube in her kitchen and kept it on the top shelf in the pantry and then blended with the butter.
What?
Yeah. And the glass was served insane. 5 times into sandwiches and a biscuit treat over 2 months in November of 2007.
2007? It was in modern day?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What did it happen? Did anything happen to the guy?
Did
something terrible happen to him? Poor thing.
I don't.
I mean, he was a cheater, so bad. But
Yeah, but still, I think he realized it was glass. You know what? I reckon the fluorescent part's probably the bad bit, because there are those magicians and people like that eat light bulbs and stuff, and actually your digestive system can sort of deal with it. Don't try it at home unless you know the trick, of course.
Yeah, but those people those magicians don't really eat glass light bulbs though, do they? They're not real. They must be like, rice paper or something.
No, there are real ones. I mean, they smash it first into tiny little pieces, and then, you can eat it. There's a whole... I mean, I'm quite obsessed with Darren Brown specials. Have you ever seen a Darren Brown thing? He's this magician...
that idiot with the moustache and goatee, isn't he?
Oh, he's so good, because he's all about...
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not thinking of this person. Anyway, keep going.
You're probably talking about the same person. You just don't like him. But because he's all about, like, the magic isn't real and it's all a big trick, and... that actually makes it more amazing, I think, because there are these things that Darren Brown sort of makes happen that it's all just psychology.
So people real can eat glass. Things.
Yeah,
that's fucked up. Don't eat glass. We're not advocating for that.
Don't try it at home. Please make sure you know what you're doing before you try it. And
don't try it at home.
Definitely don't mince it up into someone's sandwich.
No, feel free to Google that and learn about that yourself. Feel free to Google and learn a bit more about black bobs. I don't think there's anything kind of official on the internet for you to learn, but it's certainly a terrifying urban legend. And your one wasn't even a terrifying urban legend. I don't know if yours is real. It's from a newspaper article.
Yeah, it's just something I'd heard when I was younger, and I only found that it was actually real today. So
that's terrible. There are so many weird urban legends that freak me out, but certainly Black Bob's is one of them.
Yeah, one of my favorites is the people who get their house broken into. Have you heard this one?
Oh, you're going to talk about toothbrushes?
Yeah.
And the camera thing?
Yeah, let's not go into it then if you already know it.
But stupid. It's so dumb. No, say it. Go and tell everybody listening, because some people listening won't have a clue what it is, but it's so fucking stupid.
I'll abridge it just so they know what I'm talking about.
Quick version.
Yeah, nothing gets stolen, and so they're confused. And then, like 3 or 4 days later, they get some photos in the mail, and there are 2 people in their house who have taken photos with the couple's toothbrushes up their bums. Anyway.
I just spat all over my microphone. It's so bad. I'm just going to wipe it.
Yeah. But
that's such a stupid thing.
I know. I feel like if it wasn't true when someone came up with it, since, I reckon someone has probably done it because they heard that story and thought it was funny. So.
Exactly. Like it totally is. It's some moron will have gone, oh, that sounds so funny. That's a good idea. I'm going to do it.
Yeah. Was it you?
No.
Is that what you're trying to tell me? No.
I can't think. Also, don't you think it's such a weird thing, like a toothbrush up the bum?
Yeah, I've never tried it myself.
Me neither. I just think it's no, hideous.
Yeah, as long as all the bristles come back out.
Oh God, you're so gross. You see what I have to put up with here, people? The sick, sordid way that this person's mind works. It's so bad. As long as all the bristles come out.
Yeah. All right. I guess we should leave it there before I say anything else.
Before you gross me out even further.
Yeah.
I wonder if maybe the whole inbred thing came from like the fact that we are an island, and maybe that's why like less people to sort of date, I don't know, or hook up with. But also, wasn't there like that cannibal bloke?
Yeah, there was a movie about this, wasn't there?
The last assassination of Alexander Pierce.
Oh, wasn't
it? Is that what? No, I've made that up.
It's one of those things where we learnt about all these things at primary school, and then they've all melded into one. So I can't quite pick out the details of what was which. And was Alexander Pierce the guy who swam from Port Arthur through the shark-infested water? Was that Martin Cash? And then I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. That's true. That's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah. But also, I don't know. It was never really interested me that much. And I think it's because, and it's changed a lot now. It's a wonderful building now, but the Tasmanian Museum and Art Gallery used to really freak me out as a child. Like there used to be
terrifying.
this display, and it was like, the pig was awful. I think that's still there. But there was this diorama, and it was really dark, and then you'd press a button, and there'd like a light would come on, there'd be an owl. And I don't know what it was, but this taxidermied owl used to just freak me out. And
the same section, when you used to press the button, it would sort of be a timer. It would sort of slowly pop back out, and it would turn the light off. But the same bit, there was stuffed Tasmanian devils eating the plastic insides of a stuffed kangaroo.
Yeah.
It was terrifying.
Yeah, this stuff's
absolutely
like
terrifying.
nightmares. I still have trouble going into museums today because of this.
I can't believe going to the Hobart Museum or the Tasmanian Museum. I don't know if it's still like this. I haven't been for a long time. There was that other display where you pressed a button and it lit up a group of First Nations Indigenous Australians standing around a campfire, and it played an audio file of the last recording of the last known full-blood Indigenous person, Malamagena.
Yeah.
Do you remember this? And it was like in some kind of like exhibition case.
Yeah, it was funny.
It was so bad.
Yeah, they've mixed it up a bit now. They've brought it into the 21st century, but you can still go and listen to, I think
that recording.
The recording's still there, which I quite like actually. Cause,
I like the recording, but it's weird that that's behind.
Yeah, they've separated it from the weird diorama of, oh, look, this is what the
the barn owl sounds like at night.
Yeah.
Can I just say, I did just have a quick Google. Alexander Pearce was a cannibal. He was an Irish convict who was transported to Van Diemen's Land.
Okay.
And he was there for 7 years for theft at Port Arthur. And in one of his escape times, he became a cannibal. And he murdered his escapee companions one by one. And interestingly, when you search him, there's actually a photo of Jake Gyllenhaal under his name. So there's a sketch of the guy, and then there's Jake Gyllenhaal. I mean, I'm totally here for Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd let him eat me if he was a cannibal. He's probably just about the only person that I would let eat me. Him and Zac Efron, maybe they could share, take it in turn, take a bite each. But so this
you don't want to eat alone, do you? Like it's like going to a restaurant by yourself.
Exactly.
It's nice, but a bit awkward.
That's something we should talk about and delve into. I know this is not the podcast or the forum for that, but don't you think it's weird cannibalism? Like, I mean, that story of that weird people.
It's not something I've ever really tried. So
it's so strange. Like, there's those weird people, not weird people, that's a terrible judgment, but it's true. There's that guy who answered a Craigslist ad or something in Germany a few years ago. Again, I'm not sure if it was Craigslist. I'm not sure if it was Germany, but whatever. It was two men. Somebody put an ad saying, I want to eat somebody, and somebody responded saying, hi, I'd like to be eaten. And they went and he chopped off the bloke's balls and he ate them. They cooked them with fried them up with sauteed them up on a fry pan, and they ate them together. And then they tried to take other parts of him off.
Yeah.
Other parts, and he died.
That's right.
And that's how it all got found out. But the guy was willing to do it initially, and he partook in the whole thing allegedly voluntarily. Isn't that strange? Yeah.
I mean, you keep shying away from the word weird because you're worried you're going to offend someone. But I think in this case, we even the,
that's true.
The kids on Twitter aren't going to cancel you for saying that cutting off a guy's balls and eating them together is weird.
What am I going to do if I alienate our cannibal audience? That's the thing. Who knows? Every single one of our listeners could be a cannibal for all I know, and I could have just killed our entire audience.
There's a dog boy in the Tasmanian wilderness that's just switched his iPod off.
Oh, what have I done? What have I done with this mini-sode? I've taken us to a dark, dark place. All our listeners are going to abort mission.
I know. Maybe that's a good time to wrap it up then, shall we?
Totally. Wrap it up. Take it home. Take it home.
Hit subscribe. Make sure you're following along. Tell your friends. And, of course, we've got an Instagram that you can contact us on.
At Fruity Alexia Podcast.
At Fruity Alexia Podcast. And, like everything that's on there, subscribe, all those things that you know how to do, just go and do it because it helps us. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Shall we get on with our days?
Let's get on with our days.
Great.
Hey!